we got the top team in the other conference, the Atlanta Aerodactyls. His team, I'm going to list off his team. His team is Mega Scizor, Lando T with Z-Moves, Azumarill, Superior, Reuniclus, Mandibuzz, Arcanine, Rabombi, Tyrantrum, Hitmonchan, Zebstriko Z-Moves, and Ferroseed. His team is very threatening. Lando T with Z-Moves is always scary. Azumarill really runs house on my team, as well as Superior if I let them set up. He's got really reliable setup mons, obviously, in the first 4 mons I mentioned. And even Reuniclus is really scary. His team is just broken. But what I expected him to bring was Mega Scizor, Lando T, Azumarill, Reuniclus, Arcanine, and then like Superior or something like that. That last mon could definitely like rotate or whatever. But that's what I expected him to bring. The team I brought against him for Week 9 was Articuno, Manaphy, Hippowdon, Salazzle, Klefki, and Hydreigon. After finally barely using Hydreigon, I've gotten way more comfortable with this mon, so that's really nice. It's actually a lot better of a mon than I originally had used it for. I was trying to use it so offensively, but didn't realize how good its defensive potential was. But I'm going to just break down the sets. I don't really remember this as much. I'm a little tired right now. I apologize. But we got Articuno. This is the set. We have Sub, Freeze Dry, HP Fire, and Haze. The ice typing does really good against this team, and I decided to run Freeze Dry because the power is nice with Ice Beam, but it wasn't the most necessary, as Freeze Dry just kind of nukes Lando T regardless, since I am an offensive set. This might catch him off guard because I have like leftovers Sub or whatever. You might think it's more of a bulky set, as I have brought Articuno bulky in the past, but it is an offensive set to say the least. Haze is to make sure Reuniclus doesn't get set up, because Reuniclus, come on, is really scary, and just kind of just run house on his team. HP 5 for Scizor. If I can predict something, I do live a Bullet Punch guaranteed. Again, Ice type coverage for Lando T, Azumarill, Superior, Mandibuzz. This gets walled by Arcanine, but I have a lot of ways around Arcanine, so there's that. And speaking of Arcanine, this is what Manaphy might try and set up on. Oh yeah, Manaphy for our next mon. We take Wildberry, Moosming, Surf, Energy Ball, HP Fire, Tail Glow, Max HP. For you guys see the set. This is not really meant to set up, but if I have the opportunity, I'm going to take it. Another way around Reuniclus, as Reuniclus Calm Mind, again, very scary mon. I love that thing, but it's scary. And if I need to use Tail Glow to boost past it, I'm going to do it. And if I get a chance to like set up on Arcanine or something, I'm going to do it. HP Fire for Scizor, because any team that has a Mega Scizor, you're going to expect a bunch of HP Fires or Fire type coverage, as that's what I'm doing. Energy Ball for the Azumarill. This is my main switch into Azumarill, as that's why I have max HP. I can live 2 Play Roughs, I think, unless they're banded. And if it's banded Azumarill, it's not as scary because I can deal with it according to what move it locked itself into. Belly Drum set is the scary one, obviously, but I have this Manaphy for that because I can live a +6 Aqua Jet. Energy Ball might not. Energy Ball has like a roll to kill it after the Belly Drum Citrus Berry, but I'm not sure. I don't think it kills, but I think it's gonna be chipped down a bit before it gets its Belly Drum off. That's the main thing. But that is Manaphy, mainly here just to take hits from Azumarill. It beats Lando offensively as well. That's why I have a lot of speed in this thing. So, yeah, oh, and Arcanine as well. Next up, we got Hippowdon. Hippowdon's got lefties, Stealth Rock, Earthquake, Ice Fang, Slack Off, mixed defenses with an Impish Nature. I have Ice Fang for the Lando. Scizor can't really touch me back unless it's a Swords Dance set, and I'm not really expecting Swords Dance. I really think he's going to need the coverage for my mons, like Bullet Punch, Insert Bug Move, Knock Off, and Fighting Move for Klefki maybe. If he wants to bring a Swords Dance, it's possible, but I don't think he's going to bring a Swords Dance set. So that's why I decided to leave coverage off for Scizor in the end. Plus, Fire Fang, it feels really bulky. It was only not even doing half. So I decided away from that in the end. I can get rocks up for something to defog, like Lando, if it's got it. Earthquake's just general stab. Slack Off for reliable recovery. That's Hippowdon. I love this mon. Next up, we got Salazzle. Salazzle's got the Pasho Berry with max special attack. You guys see the EVs. Sludge Wave, Flamethrower, HP Ice, Toxic. This mon is very important this week as it kind of blows back everything on his team. Flamethrower, Nuke Scizor, HP Ice with a little bit of chip on Lando beats it. It beats Superior. It's a main way to beat Superior unless it's got like HP Ground or Glare. I do have to scout for that before just mindlessly switching into it. So there's that. It only gets kind of walled by Reuniclus, and if Reuniclus is low enough, I can just beat it down. It doesn't do much to Mandibuzz either, but Mandibuzz can't do too much back to me unless it's got like Bone Rush, and who runs Bone Rush on Mandibuzz? It does decent strength to Arcanine. It nukes for Bombi. It kind of blows past through Tyrantrum with some chip, and yeah, it's just a really good mon against his team. He's got Ferroseed as well at the lower tiers, which he could definitely bring, and that's what it beats that thing as well. But that's Salazzle. Next up, we got Klefki. Klefki is rocking the leftovers with Flash Cannon, Dual Stab, Defog, Toxic. It's especially defensive set this week. This was here to mainly take hits from Reuniclus was all my thing, if it's not Magic Guard, because I can just Toxic it and I'll win that 1v1. For Mana Buzz as well, I can't actually use Prankster moves on Mana Buzz, which kind of sucks, but I can declean it down, force it to roost a bunch of times, or at least weaken it for another Mon later. And it switches into Superior. I do have to be careful of like a sub-seed set. That's really annoying for Klefki, since Klefki does not get reliable recovery. So but if I can like break a sub with like Flash Cannon or D-Gleam, I can just fire off a Toxic, and the Superior is not really as scary. So that is Klefki. Lastly, we got Hydreigon. Hydreigon is rocking the max special attack. I just said I liked it using it defensively recently, but this is a really offensive set. It's running the choice specs with U-Turn, Dark Pulse, Flamethrower, Earth Power. If that Azumarill is gone, this thing just clicks buttons. That and Mana Buzz, but Mana Buzz is really not that scary. And man, dude, this thing just hits insanely hard. But it blows past through his Abstraco, his Tyrantrum. I'm just listening down the list right now. Arcanine with Earth Power. Scizor. Scissor's not really a threat unless it's... And they got a Swords Dance up, then it's a little bit scary. But again, not expecting Swords Dance on that Scizor. This thing just nukes his entire team, basically. But that is the team we're bringing against the Atlanta Aerodactyls, remember? So this is the team we brought, just went over it. That is the team he brought. His team is basically what I predicted, except he did not bring Arcanine, which is fine with me, to be honest. Not really too upset about that. Oh, and I also forgot to mention it was storming earlier. It's kind of coming in and out, kind of like if anyone lives in Florida or something like that, it's sort of like that, but I don't live in Florida. But this is a team he's bringing. Azumarill is very scary, and Azumarill's scary, Serp's a little bit scary, and Reuniclus is scary. Well, everything's scary, but those are the main threats. I think Azumarill and Superior... Well, no, they're all scary. I don't know. They're scary mons. I'm going to leave with Manaphy because it can beat the Reuniclus and Azumarill if he decides to lead with it. Superior would be the only lead that he has that would really suck if I led Manaphy, because then I'd be kind of in a pickle turn 1. But I'm going to put it on slow, and yeah. So we're going to start off this battle. I lead with Manaphy, and luckily he leads with Azumarill. I'm just going to fire off an Energy Ball, because if he wants to bring in Superior, I'll at least get some chip on it and learn if it's like leftovers or something like that. I'm assuming it's going to be like a lefty set, like maybe like Leaf Storm, Subseed, and HP Ground, or maybe he won't have Leech Sheet. Maybe he'll just have sub 3 attacks. I don't know, to be honest. But I'm going to just fire off an Energy Ball. He stays in, and this does 42%, so he's pretty offensive. I get his Videf drop, and he misses Player Off. So that was a pretty big turn. I feel bad for the Player Off for this. It was going to do around half, maybe a little bit more. I'm not quite sure. But with this Videf drop as well, he can't stay in and take another Energy Ball. So he's going to be forced to switch out. I could have predicted this, as he does go into Superior, but I just make the safe play and click Energy Ball. And hindsight's 50-50. I really should have clicked Ice Beam there, or HP Fire, but, you know, it's whatever. He has leftovers. I am just going to switch out into Klefki, as I can tank any hit pretty fine. As he's just going to fire off a sub, and this is pretty annoying. I have to break it. I have to hope I can break it. I hope he's not really bulky. As I'm just going to click Flash Cannon. I think it's what I click. As he does click Leech Seed, so now I'm just like, oh, crap. Luckily, the sub does break, and that's really good news for me, as now I can fire off a Toxic with Prankster, or he's going to be forced to switch out. I do get the Toxic off, and that is huge, because now the Superior is a little bit less scary. It's still scary because it can set up and get health back with Leech Sheet and leftovers, but it's not as scary because it's gonna die eventually. So the Superior's on a timer now, as he's just gonna fire off some Leaf Storms. I'm sorry, I'm getting comfortable here. As he's starting to start boosting. I have to make sure this thing doesn't get a sub up, and having this thing with the sub up is really scary. But if it's got no sub, then it's not too scary, because Salazzle could just come in and revenge it if Klefki ends up dying. Here he makes a really smart play and goes into Scizor. I mean, that's fine. It's not, Flash Cannon's not going to really doing too much to it. And he is going to get most of that back, if not all, with Leech Sheet recovery. I had to switch out here because, yeah, I'm going to go into Manaphy. I can tank any hit from a Scizor because it's a Scizor. Hopefully he doesn't U-turn here, as he does click the U-turn, which kind of sucks. I didn't want that to happen, as he just goes right back out in the Superior. But it's, you know, it's whatever. I cancel those lefties with the Toxic right away. And I'm forced to switch out. I got to go back out in the Klefki. And I'm at 50%. He goes for Leaf Storm. It does 19. And originally I was thinking I'm going to live this hit. But if 19 times 2 is 38. So I'm at 37. It's not looking great. And I do end up dying. And that really sucks, because I wanted to get an extra round of Toxic Poisoning off. But I don't. It's unfortunate. But realistically, I was probably going to die 9 times out of 10 there anyway. But Klefki goes down. The Superior is really boosted. It's still at high health, which I really don't like. But you see his moves are Leech Seed, Sub, and Leaf Storm. I'm still scared to switch into Salazzle because that last move could be either Glare or HP Ground. In my mind, I think it's HP Ground, and I should have like took advantage of that more because if I thought it was HP Ground, I could go into Hydreigon basically for free. But I go into Salazzle this turn because it's a free turn, obviously, and I'm just gonna click Sludge Wave. I think as Reuniclus does come in, it is probably his best switch in. It still is like 43%. That's a nice chunk of damage. I'm forced to switch out. I'm going to Hydreigon as he makes a great play and goes for a Focus Blast. And that sucks. And it gets Spadef Drop. Who gets the Spadef Drop? It doesn't matter. But that was a great play on Love's part. Bad play on my part, obviously. Excuse me. But yeah, that really sucks because having the health on Hydreigon would have been really important for the Superior a little bit later if that it ended up being HP Ground. So this is a really bad spot we're in right now. Luckily, he is probably... I'm going to click Dark Pulse, I think. Yeah, click Dark Pulse. I can find out if this thing is Regenerator or Magic Guard when it comes back in, as that does 31% to Azumarill, and that is great because now this thing cannot stay in and tank another one. I can take an Aqua Jet from this range. I think even if it's banded, I can take an Aqua Jet. I'm not completely sure. But I'm just going to click Dark Pulse again. I have no drawbacks to it. As Mandibuzz comes in, I am Specs. He probably knows I'm Specs by now based on that damage. It still does so much damage to this thing. I am forced to switch out because I can't just click Dark Pulse all day on this thing. So going to Articuno, and Articuno is looking pretty good against his team. I didn't really realize it at first, but now I am. He clicks U-turn and he goes out into Scizor, which kind of sucks. But here I make a really ballsy play. I click HP Fire. I don't think he's going to click Bullet Punch, and you see here he does not click Bullet Punch, and HP Fire does 71% to it as he clicks U-turn. That was a really big turn because now Scizor is really low, and coming back in, he's going to have a really hard time coming back in with Scizor. And he's not gonna be an SD. I'm confirmed he's not SD set at this point because he's gonna have Roost probably, like U-turn, beat Bullet Punch, Roost, and knock off for a superpower. But that's really big to have this Scizor low. It makes a lot more mons like Manaphy not as important or Salazzle, as I can kind of clean up the game with some other mons. But anyway, this Articuno is sort of meant for the Reuniclus, not quite. This is just to make sure this thing doesn't get set up on my face. I want to find out. Oh, this thing is regenerated, by the way. I do not have Toxic, which kind of sucks on this Articuno, but it's fine. I'm just going to click Haze this turn to make sure this thing doesn't get any boost whatsoever. So he has Calm Mind, Recover, Focus Blast, and I'm assuming that last move is just like Psychic or Psyshock. I kind of hope it's Psychic because I'm a little more specially bulky, I think, naturally. As I'm going to go into Manaphy, as this thing is just going to keep setting up Calm Minds. I'm not sure if it's going to be a winning battle, but I just want to speed the process up, as I'm just going to click Tail Glow on this thing, as I can live any Psychic move from this thing. As he does bring me down to my Guavaberry range, and I get right back up. So now this Reuniclus is kind of in a pickle. As Azumarill comes in, and Azumarill is going to die. So he sacks off the Azumarill. That was really smart, because Azumarill is really low. It wasn't going to be doing much with Aqua Jet to almost anything except for Hippo or Salazzle. But it does give him a free switch into Superior, and now I have to switch out into Articuno. So Articuno is really good switching at this point. As he just clicks Substitute, that is quite fine with me. He's going to rack himself up with Toxic damage. It's not that big of a deal. As here, I believe I just click Freeze Dry, as he's going to set up the Seeds, and I do click Freeze Dry, that's it. So I break the sub. He's going to get a little bit of extra HP back with the leftovers plus this Leech Seed, and then Toxic damage is going to bring him back down. I am going to click Freeze Dry again, despite, I really wanted to click HP Fire, I really did, but I couldn't pull myself to do it. It's still going to do so much to Surf, so looking back at it, it was kind of a bad move, but, you know, whatever. This time, he's definitely clicking Bullet Punch this time, so I'm going to go right into Salazzle. I can tank any hit from the Scizor, as he does click Bullet Punch, which is really good. Now I can fire off a free hit, even though I do believe the Reuniclus was going to come out, but Manabuzz ends up coming out, as I just click Toxic. Now, I did that because if Reuniclus was going to come in, I could get it on a timer, because it is Regenerator and not Magic Guard. So now I can just click Sludge Wave to do some damage to this thing. Manabuzz can't do too much to me. He clicks U-turn. Now, here's a really big turn here. He goes into Reuniclus. This Reuniclus is a problem. My only way to deal with it is with Hydreigon. And Hydreigon is at 31%, so I can't just switch in Mono-Seed to Reuniclus, especially since he clicked Focus Blast earlier. If Hydreigon goes down, I basically just lose the game to Reuniclus, because I cannot beat that 1v1 unless I get some Tail Glow up with Manaphy somehow. But he still has Superior in the back, so I need to make a decision here. Salazzle's really good against his team, don't get me wrong, but I have Toxic, it hits every time, and I know this thing is Regenerator. I'm going to click Toxic, hopefully he clicks Calm Mind, and gets a little greedy with the Calm Minds, and if I get a Toxic Poison on this thing, then I can beat it, but if I can't, then I just lose. So I'm going to click Toxic, as I get it off, and he clicks Psychic. So Very unfortunately, Salazzle is going to go down here. That really sucks because Salazzle was so good against the rest of his team. It basically almost won against the rest of his team, assuming this Landorus isn't Scarf. I mean, if it's Scarf Landorus, then I would have had problems with that. But, I mean, Hippowdon beat Scarf Landorus 1v1 anyway. But really unfortunate that happened, but I didn't want to just straight up lose Reuniclus on the spot. I really truly believe it was my best way to win this game. Because it's still obviously winnable. It's 5v4, and a lot of his Scizor is low, Mana Buzz is low, Superior's half health. The only thing he hasn't shown left is Lando. So, and I'm assuming that Lando is probably going to be Scarf at this point, but I'm not quite sure. Here I can go into my what do I go into? I go into Hydreigon, as I'm going to click U-turn. I think because I don't think Dark Pulse killed from that range if he was really especially bulky. So I decided to just go into Articuno, as I'm assuming he's going to click Focus Blast, as he does click Focus Blast. He misses on Fort, but I'm not sure how much it really mattered. As toxic damage is going to start to rack up a bit on this thing. He might try to recover once, but I'm going to click Freeze Dry, I think, or Sub. I click Sub, that's it. I click Sub because I don't think he's going to click a Psychic move right there and just whittle himself down. And a free Sub on this thing is great. So now I can click any move for free. I get to click Freeze Dry. This thing is going to die. He couldn't switch into Scizor. He could switch into Scizor. Something was going to die, basically. As he switched into Scizor, I could just click HP Fire because U-turn doesn't break the Sub. As now he goes into Scizor, he's going to click Bullet Punch, break my Sub, as I'm going to click HP Fire, and his Articuno just made a huge hole in his team. Mana Buzz and Scizor both went down, and all he's got left is Lando, Reuniclus, and Superior. And now here he brings out the Lando. This is another big turn. He intimidates me. Lando is naturally faster. I have a lot of speed in this thing, but I do think this Landorus is going to be offensive. So I do think this thing is going to be faster. I already think it's going to be Scarf to begin with. So I'm already thinking, okay, I'm going to be switching out. I decide I'm going to switch out. Hippowdon is only here at this point for Lando. So I want to throw out Hippo out there. I don't think this Landorus is going to be a big problem. As it might claim a kill, but it's going to be whatever. I still have Articuno in the back for Superior. I still have Articuno in the back for Reuniclus as well, or Hydreigon. Hydreigon for those as well, though if that thing does have like glare or something like that, it might be a bit of a problem. But I'm going to switch out, expecting him to like click a rock move or something like that. As I go into Hippowdon, I can tank any hit, and he gets up the Stealth Rocks. I do not have Defog on this team. So this battle just took a huge turn. This turn, I'm going to click Ice Fang because I don't need rocks. That is my clicker going off. Oh, crap. All right, well... oh crap. Alright, so the pop-up on my computer just popped up, and that really sucks. I might have to restart the stream now. Oh my god, I hate when that happens. I'm gonna finish off this battle. Oh wait, it just disappeared. Oh no, it's coming back up. Anyway, this Lando Z move, I'm gonna try and get through this battle, as I actually tanked this because Hippowdon's a god. Just a reminder to you guys, this is actually a mixed Hippowdon, so that's really cool. As now, Lando's gonna go down. But the really sad thing here is that Superior can come in, and it gets a free boost. Now, Articuno, after the 50%, it goes down to 31, and I could live a Leaf Storm, but I can't live 2. And that's the same with Hydreigon. Hydreigon can't live 2 Leaf Storms, and I'm gonna be with you guys at this point. It's looking bad. I have to hope that he misses Leaf Storm. I'm gonna bump up the speed a bit, and we're gonna speed this up hopefully. Basically, the only way I win at this point is if he misses a Leaf Storm, and I can stay it. I don't know. He hits this Leaf Storm, and he's getting really boosted up at this point. I could have went to Hydreigon there, but it was going to die to a +2 Leaf Storm. Anyway, at this point, I just got to hope he misses, and he hits his Leaf Storm here. And at this point, I still have a chance, because if he misses and I can kill a Dark Pulse, I have a chance here. This is my last chance. Will he? Unfortunately, no. He does not have to click Leaf Storm, because he has HP Bug. He had Hidden Power Bug. So this entire game, I could have went into Salazzle hard on this thing and beat it 1v1, but it really confused me why he had HP Bug, but it came to work in the end, because if he would have missed that last Leaf Storm, I probably would have won the game. He would have to hit a Focus Blast too, because he was Colberberry Reuniclus in the end, so he would have lived the Dark Pulse anyway, but he would have had to hit a Focus Blast. That's, you know how Focus Blast is. But we are going to lose this game 2-0. I personally think this game was really fun. I had a lot of fun with this game. Good GG to Love. I really messed up with the switching on Articuno. If I just clicked Freeze Dry, I think I would have won the game right there if I clicked Freeze Dry. Not sure. I could be wrong, but I think my chances of winning would have been very high. But that's on me for switching. I thought it would be Scarf, but it wasn't Scarf. It was Z move. Week 10, we were facing off against FC Barcelona 8. That's Ellen. Ellen won season No. Ellen did not win season 1. Ellen won a championship in the APM. I don't know what it was. It wasn't season 1. It was something else that Jed ran. But I know Ellen's a good battler regardless. I'm going to move down my notes right here. As Ellen has a rain team. I'm going to list off Ellen's team now. Ellen's team is Mega Swampert, Kartana, Blacephalon Z-moves, Pelipper, Kingdra, Umbreon, Cloyster, Exploud, Slowpuff Z-moves, Doublade, Lycanroc Knight, and Parasect. That is his team. I expected him to bring Mega Swampert, Blacephalon, Pelipper, Kingdra, Exploud, and maybe like Kartana or Umbreon. Maybe even Cloyster. Cloyster could be kind of scary. There's a lot of mons for that 6th place as well. Just like last battle, this battle he could bring a lot of different things as well. But I definitely expect him to bring Rain. Kingdra is more scary than Mega Swampert in my opinion in this battle because I have good ways to deal with Mega Swampert. But just like last battle, I'm either bringing a set or a mon that I think I could do well. I'm not going to name it as I keep repeating myself over and over again. But for this game, I am bringing Hydreigon, Klefki, Salazzle, Mega Gallade, Celebi, and Electros. So I'm going to get into this little quick team builder here. First up, we got Hydreigon. Hydreigon is rocking Dark Pulse, Dragon Pulse, Flash Cannon, HP Grass with the Yachi Berry. This switches into Mega Swampert, as well as it basically deals with Mega Swampert. The only bad thing was if he like predicts Ace Punch, and even then I could live 2 with the Yachi Berry. This is really good against Doublade because Doublade was kind of a problem for my team. Hydreigon was not the first mon I threw on the team. It was probably like the 4th, 3rd, I don't know. But as I was building, I realized Doublade was a little bit of a problem, especially with Rain. And with my Salazzle over there, with fire moves getting weakened in Rain, I wanted another way to deal with it. So, there's that. Hydreigon also beats the Blacephalon. It resists most of its stab moves. Blacephalon is a Z user, so that is a little bit scary. And I know Ellen has brought Calm Mind sub before, and if I let him get a little too boosted, then that becomes a bit of a problem. This beats Kingdra outside of Rain. I say outside of Rain because Kingdra in Rain is scary as hell. And that is sort of it. It does a nice chip to everything else on his team. Kartana obviously can't switch in because it's a freaking Kartana. And HP Grass is, I hope to catch him off guard on the Swampert because HP Grass is kind of a weird tech to have. I don't think this thing gets any grass coverage. No, yeah, Hydreigon does not get grass coverage, so that is definitely something to throw my opponent off guard. Next up, we have Klefki. Make sure I'm on the right slide. Yeah, I am. We have been streaming for only a half hour. Oh my god. Klefki is running max HP, max defense, defensive set with the leftovers, because what other item do I ever hold on this thing? You see the moves, Calm Mind, D-Gleam, T-Wave, Defog. T-Wave stops Kingdra from becoming a big problem, as well as all of his Tier 1 sweepers, is Ultra Beast and Kartana and Blacephalon. If they are paralyzed, they are no longer threats. Cloyster, if it is paralyzed, is no longer a threat. Exploud or Slurpuff is paralyzed. T-Wave, I like Toxic over T-Wave a lot more usually, but I think in this battle, T-Wave is just so much better. The only thing Toxic could be better before is like Pelipper or Umbreon, but I do have ways to beat those. Like Calm Mind, Klefki beats Umbreon 1v1 anyway, so it's not that threatening. Having a T-Wave on Umbreon isn't too threatening if I can just Calm Mind on it. So there's that. It also, what else? It beats Cloyster. It's my only defensive way to beat Cloyster, but all my offense just nukes Cloyster. That's why I was on the fence of it coming. All my offense doesn't give it a chance to set up, so that's why I'm not sure about it. But if I needed a defensive answer, this would be the best way to go upon about it. And I can switch into Kartana. This switches in the Kartana. I can T-Wave it. So that is Klefki. Next up we have Salazzle. I'm bringing Salazzle to a rain team, I know. This is going to be max HP with a lot of speed and a little bit of Spatak. I put that Spatak in there mainly for the Doublade, I think. I want to hit Flamethrower pretty hard. Toxic Taunt, sub, Flamethrower. This walls a lot of his team. I just have to be careful with Rain again. I didn't need the poison coverage because the only thing poison coverage hit was Slurpuff, and I can basically just Taunt Toxic, sub that down to death because Slurpuff does not get any coverage. That really hurts Salazzle without it being boosted. Obviously, if it's a +6 Slurpuff, it's going to hit hard. It's going to nuke me with return, but a non-boosted return, I don't think it even does half to me, so it's not too scary. I can just Toxic Taunt it down to the point where it just dies. It beats Parasect as well for the off chance he wants to bring that. I don't see him bringing Parasect, but for whatever reason. It's a little bit scary in Rain because I believe Flamethrower might not even do half to, especially defensive Doublade in Rain. So I definitely have to watch out for that. But that is mainly Salazzle here. Next up we have Mega Gallade. Mega Gallade is rocking that EV spread to outspeed Kartana. Drain Punch, Thunder Punch, Knockoff, Shadow Sneak. This is an all-around good check to his everything on his team. I have something to hit, I think, everything on his team. Because his team is kind of weak to fighting, ain't gonna lie about it. I can't hit Swampert super effectively, but I can still hit it pretty hard. I have Shadow Sneak for the off chance I'm in a bad predicament in like rain, like Kingdra or Swampert get out of hand, and they're both really low. I can just come in and Shadow Sneak them down to the point where they just die. So that is why I have Shadow Sneak on this thing. Knockoff's good overall, even though Mega Swampert could be a switch in if it's like a little more bulky, but whatever. And T-Punches for Pelipper because I don't have much electric coverage on this team. And Pelipper, while Pelipper itself's not a big threat, it's just Pelipper supporting the team is really annoying. So if I can get rid of that, that would be pretty nice. Even though I don't really see Pelipper staying in on a Mega Gallade. But that is going to be Mega Gallade. Just all around really good against his team. Next up, we got Selby. Selby is rocking mixed defenses with Giga Drain, Earth Power, Toxic Cover with the leftovers. This stops his Rain Core really effectively, except for Pelipper, but I'm not going to be switching this in on Pelipper. This stops Kingdra unless it's Specs. Specs Kingdra could be a bit of a problem, but if it's Specs, I can find out what it's locked into. This stops Swampert, as I can, unless he predicts an Ice Punch. If he predicts an Ice Punch, that might be a little bit scary. Or if he goes for like Power Up Punch into an Ice Punch, that is also very scary for Celebi. So that is something I definitely have to keep in mind. But outside of those predicaments, this beats his Rain Core. This also beats the Cloyster if it switches in. Umbreon can't beat me because I can Toxic it, and then, Synchronized goes off, I can switch out for Natural Cure. This beats, what else? Electronic Knight. I think that's kind of it. But this is mainly just here for his Rain Core. That's as simple as that. We have Electros finally. I needed something especially defensive to switch into some of his other mons like X-Cloud or like especially offensive Cloyster, Kingdra, Blacephalon. So Electros kind of deals with them all around. I don't want Dragon coverage, so yeah. But yeah, Volt Switch, Drain Punch, Giga Drain, Knockoff, Giga Drain for the Swampert, Volt Switch to go around his team. This switches in the Pelipper, though. I mean, Pelipper is just going to be cooking U-turn 9 times out of 10 probably. But that is the Electros, and that is our Week 10 Team Builder. This is pretty interesting. I like Weather a lot. I really do like Weather in Mons. I like Sand more than Rain, but I definitely do want to try Rain out one more time, as I'll get into that. I do have something in mind for a Rain team, as I'll say that at the end of the stream. But that is going to be it for our Week 10 Team Builder, and his team, he did bring Rain. He brought both Swampert and Kingdra. He did bring Doublade, which was definitely something I could see coming, and he did bring both the Clown and Kartana, so that's a little threatening. Kartana's not too scary, and the main threat here is Kingdra, and Blacephalon only if it gets set up, if he does bring set up. He definitely could bring like a Calm Mind sub Z moveset. Kartana's probably going to be Scarf or Banded. Pelipper is going to be, support. Swampert and Kingdra both, Rain Sweepers, and Doublade is just going to be a standard like SD Doublade or something like that. That's what I'm expecting. We're going to start this battle off. Let's make sure all the settings are correct. So yeah, we're going to start off. So with Gallade. Gallade is a really good overall start to the battle. He leads Blacephalon, and you would think this is a really good matchup, but if this Blacephalon is actually Z-move, I cannot knock this thing out with a knockoff, which is pretty sad. But so I don't want to, I'm fully expecting it to be Z-move too, so I don't really want to risk my Gallade turn 1, because if for the off chance Blacephalon survives and I die to Shadow Ball, then his team just becomes so much more scary. So I don't want to risk Gallade turn 1. I'm just going to Hydreigon. Hydreigon's a very free switch in, as he actually does switch into the Doublade. Blacephalon switched out first, but that's because I'm not Mega Evolved. This is fine. I get a free Dark Pulse off now, and that's pretty cool. As it's going to do a chunk to this Pelipper, but it does not do over half, which is unfortunate. And Dragon Pulse doesn't have the extra base power enough to probably knock this thing out. So I'm just going to go into Electros. Hopefully he doesn't click U-turn, but he just hard switches out in the Swampert. This is fine and not fine, because I can live any one hit from this thing. But if I get like Waterfall flinch, then Electros just kind of dies, and I don't really want to risk that. So I'm just gonna keep switching out now. I'm gonna go into Celebi. Celebi can tank any hit. As he goes, he doubles out into Kingdra. That's fine with me. I can figure out what this Kingdra set is. I'm going to click Toxic because it's a little more reliable than Giga Drain. As he clicks Ice Beam, and that is Specs. That is 100% Specs. I do get the Toxic off. It lands, thank God. And now this Kingdra is on a timer, even though it's going to be a while because living Kingdra's hits are kind of hard. Luckily, because I found out this thing is Specs, I do have more free reign to switch into like Klefki or Salazzle. So that's exactly what I'm going to end up doing. I'm going to go out into, I think I go out into Salazzle. Yeah, I do. As he goes into Doublade, which is, that's fine with me. As I'm going to click Substitute here. As he clicks the Shadow Sneak, that's a really smart play. I can respect that. As, I'm going to click Sub here. I'm assuming he's going to click Shadow Sneak again just to pick the sub. Rain is up, so I want to see how much this Flamethrower is going to do. Luckily, Doublade does not get reliable recovery, so I can just, whittle it down. It only does 40%, which really sucks. So here, I'm going to go into Hydreigon. I'm sure he's kind of conditioned into using Shadow Sneak a bunch of times, as I can tank that easily. I don't think he's going to click Sacred Sword, as he just sets up Swords Dance, and that is quite fine with me. I almost clicked the wrong button there. As now I can fire off a free Dark Pulse. Pelipper is at 56%, so something else has to take this hit if he wants to keep Pelipper around, I think. So he's going to switch out, and he's going to Swampert. As I mentioned in the Teambuilder, as this does about 43%. He's not Mega, though. As I mentioned in the Teambuilder, this Hydreigon is for Swampert, so I have no problems with this. He's probably, in his mind, he's probably thinking, okay, even Dragon Pulse doesn't knock me out after I Mega Evolve. I had the Hidden Power Grass. I'm going to click it. If he's going to go into Swamp, I don't think he has been pulling a lot of doubles, so that's something I could see him doing. But I'm gonna hopefully he doesn't do that. I'm going to click HP Grass, and he stays in, and the Swampert dies. So that is one of his 2 Rain Sweepers down. That is really, really big. And now he's forced to go into something else. He goes into Doublade, which has kind of confused me a lot. He just clicks Shadow Sneak, which only is 11%. And I'm like, alright, that's fine. I'm going to click Dark Pulse and claim my kill, as Doublade also goes down. We're up 6-4, and I was kind of shocked about it, but I'm quite fine with it. He's going to go into Kartana. This thing is faster than me, and I do not want to lose my Hydreigon, because Blacephalon is still floating around, as well as, Hydreigon's still really good in this match. And I have a really free switch into Klefki, so I decided I'm just going to go into Klefki now, as I can live any hit. If it's banded, I'll know, but as you see here, he is not banded. That is probably Scarf damage, and I'm just going to stay in and click T-Wave, because nothing really wants to take a T-Wave except for Pelipper, and Pelipper is the choice of Mon to get paralyzed. That's fine. I would have preferred any other Mon, but it's fine. It's not a big deal. So, let me get some lefties back. I'm going to switch out, I believe. Yeah, I go into Electros. It's my main switch into Pelipper, even though he's just going to click U-turn. But he clicks Roost. And, that's fine, because with Swampert gone, I click Volt Switch for free. So I'm going to click Volt Switch here, as he's not going to stay, and he doesn't want to take that, as Kingdra's going to take it. And that is beautiful. I don't have to worry about just toxic damage. I get nice 32% off on this Kingdra. I go into Celebi. Celebi is really only here for Kingdra at this point, and I'm willing to sack Celebi to learn what move this Kingdra is going to lock himself into. Because at this range of health, Kingdra can barely switch into anything at this point with the toxic damage on top of it. So I'm going to stay in with Celebi, just see what he locked himself into. He only kills me with Ice Beam, so as he just clicks Ice Beam, and Celebi's going to go down, that is fine. I can bring in either Klefki or Salazzle for free. Even Electros can come in. So I decide in the end to go into Klefki, because I can click T-Wave. This was a really bad, I kind of choked this play a bit, because he's already toxic poisoned, and this thing's already paralyzed. Pelipper's already paralyzed, and there's no way he switches into Kartana or Blacephalon knowing I have T-Wave at this point. So I click T-Wave for whatever reason. That was a really bad play on my part, because Kingdra's already toxic poisoned, can't even get paralyzed. It was a dumb move. But anyway, Pelipper's in, I guess. I can go into the Electros. He's probably just going to click U-turn or something like that, as he just hard switches into Blacephalon. Here, I make a decision. Electros can beat this Blacephalon 1v1, but I kind of want to keep Electros for Kingdra a little bit later, because I can tank any one hit from Kingdra, but I don't want to switch into it. So I decide here I'm going to go into Hydreigon. Hydreigon's a little bit better in this situation, even though Electros could beat it. So that's why I decided to do that. He goes for the substitute, so he is a subset, and then that's telling me he's Z move 100%. As here, he is going to fire off the Z move, as it's going to be the Ghostium Z, and it's a Blacephalon. It's going to do a decent chunk of damage. It does 45% to a Hydreigon with a little bit of bulk. As I'm going to click Dark Pulse and break the sub. Nothing really wants to switch into this Dark Pulse at this point, except for maybe Pelipper. What's a Pelipper at? Pelipper's at 100, so he could switch in, as he does switch into Pelipper. It kind of sucks, but it's whatever. I'm going to click Dark Pulse and get this thing down a little bit more. At this point, this Blacephalon's already blown a Z move. I'm just going to click Dark Pulse again, or I click Dragon Pulse to go for the kill. Don't get it, unfortunately, and he's going to click Hurricane. I am going to live because of that bulk I put in it, and that is pretty cool. And now I can click Dark Pulse for free. As he goes into Kartana, just straight up sacks it. And that threw me out. I was like, okay. Kartana just dies. That was really cool. As now he can bring in Kingdra. This rain is becoming kind of a problem, but he goes into Blacephalon, because Blacephalon actually does knock me out from this range. He gets a free Beast Boost, and that is kind of scary, because if he does crit me with Shadow Ball or something like that, that's pretty scary. But luckily, actually, I can go into I go into Klefki. Okay, I go into Klefki to T-Wave, I think, to force that thing out. That's what it was. As he goes into Kingdra, and this is a big turn, because he's going to take some more toxic poisoning, as I'm going to get up to 90%. I mentioned in my team builder, I am a defensive Klefki. I do have Calm Mind, though. The reasoning I have in the end here is that I can beat Blacephalon offensively with Gallade now that he is at 75%, or Electros defensively. Pelipper's never problem with Gallade and Electros. Klefki Klefki's good, but I don't really need it anymore. So my mindset is he's faster. I'm going to click Calm Mind to try and live this Hydro Pump or Scald, depending on what he clicks. On my calc, originally, I was calcing. After a Calm Mind, I live any hit guaranteed from this thing. So I'm going to click Calm Mind here, just to try and live the hit so I can get an extra round of Toxic Poisoning. As he ends up having the Hydro Pump, and I live on 1%, 0.6%. Now looking back at it, I calced wrong. On the calc, I was calculating no rain. With rain, I think that had like a 70% chance to knock me out, and I got really lucky with this roll. I lived the roll, and because of this roll, I get the extra, not just 12% here, but he's going to take 18% next turn, as I'm going to just sack off Klefki, and that is really big here because he's at 25%, but now he's going to be at 7%. Sorry, that's noise in the background. I get to go in Gallade and click Shadow Sneak. If he was still at 25%, Shadow Sneak doesn't knock it out. So I would have had to sack like Slazzle or something like that as well. I'm not sure how much it mattered, but for differential-wise, that definitely mattered 100%. As Mega Gallade is going to just come in and click Shadow Sneak. I say that recently because Alan's still fighting for a playoff spot. So getting that differential point could mean like something really big. Here he goes on a Pelipper. At this point, it's just GG because I can click Thunder Punch on this thing. And I do have knockoff on the Cephalon, and if it just doesn't die, I can go into like Salazzle or whatever, or Electro. I can go into anything really, and I can even tank a Shadow Ball, I think, because he's a Z move now, not like any boosting item. But he just straight up dies to knockoff. So that is the game. GG to Ellen. We are going to win 3-0. I believe this game is what clinched us playoffs for good, even though we are basically going to make playoffs regardless. But we clinched with this game. Really unfortunate that he died to the Hydro Pump, but that's kind of I lived to the Hydro Pump, but that's kind of how it is. So there's that. We face Great Warrior, coach of the Seedot Extreminus. I think Jed's gonna kill me if I pronounce that wrong. But this is our Week 11 opponent. This is really scary because Great Warrior is a really good battler. Obviously, he won Season 1, so he's really good. And hopefully we can try and beat him. He is also in the race for a playoff spot. He's still not clinched by Week 11. So that is something I have to keep in mind. He's definitely going to be out for blood and trying to win. As him and Lou were trying... Okay, so at this point in the season, in his conference, Jed clinches playoffs, Love has clinched playoffs, and then I think Trap Peach also clinched. And then it came down to either Lou or Great Warrior. And those two are going back and forth for a long time this season. But I think this battle and their Week 12 battles are really important for them. So I definitely have to acknowledge that. And they're definitely going to be trying their hardest. But this is the team Eyebrow. I'm going to go over his team first. He made transactions after this team, believe it or not. But his team consists of Mega Medicham, Zygarde, Skarmory, Scolipede with Z moves, Primarina, Porygon 2, Rotom Heat, Incineroar, Swampert, Mismagius with Z moves, Cradilly with Z moves, and Ariados. He's got Webs option. He's been using the Mismagius very well, by the way. Mismagius for a Tier 4 Mon. He's used that like very effectively. He's got like 12 kills and like 4 deaths, almost like my Manaphy almost. And that's really impressive for Mismagius. But this team's really scary. What I expect him to bring are Mega Medicham, Skarmory, Scolipede, Primarina, Porygon 2, and Rotom Heat. He could switch out something for Zygarde, but Zygarde's not really scary against my team, to be honest, because I have a lot of good ground check answers. And 1,000 Arrows is really what Zygarde is known for. That and Outrage, but I have 2 Fairy types on my team, in Klefki and Clefairy. So I don't really see him just freely clicking Outrage. Team Eyebrow, obviously, here is Hippowdon, Mega Gallade, Salazzle, Manaphy, Klefki, and Celebi. That is the team we're going to be rocking with. I was really hoping... I almost had Excadrill on this team, but I was really hoping he wouldn't bring Skarmory, because out of all the Mons I just mentioned on his team, Skarmory was like the one he's brought the least of his top Mons, at least. So I was really hoping... I almost felt Excadrill, but I decided if I bring Excadrill and he does end up bringing Skarmory, then I'm just wasting my time, because Skarmory just hardwalls Excadrill for days. Same as Celesteela, so I decided against it in the end. But I do have Excadrill's partner in crime in Hippowdon here, so that's really cool. We're going to start off with Teambuilder here, I guess. We have Hippowdon first. You see the set. It's max defensive. 12 was a little more for that like speed creeping nonsense for slower Mons. Stealth Rock, Earthquake, Psych Off, Toxic. Pasho Berry is for Waltarium Z Scolipede, because they +2 Waltarium Z does not knock me out with the Pasho. And if I can either get some nice chip with Earthquake on it, that'd be pretty cool. Mega Medicham and Scolipede are easily the scariest Mons on his team. Skarmory defensively, even though offensively it's not that hard to deal. Well, Skarmory's just annoying. It's not like it's just like I can't beat it, but Scalapede's really scary if I let it get an SD up, and Mega Medicham is just hard to switch into. But Hippowdon allows me to at least switch into Scolipede a few times with the Pasho Berry. And if he's not like a Swords Dance set, then it's not really scary whatsoever. Even a Bandit set isn't too scary. It's just Swords Dance is the only scary Scolipede set, which I'm fully expecting him to bring. But if I can chip it down with like rocks, earthquakes, sand damage, then it won't be that big of a deal. This also switches into his Fire Core and Incineroar and Rotom Heat. Incineroar can't do anything unless it's like a special Incineroar, which would be pretty tech, not gonna lie. And Rotom Heat has to bust a nut if it wants to do any damage to me, and then it's lowering its special attack, and then it's just not as good. And also Ariados if he decides to bring, because I know he actually has brought Ariados before, and webs are actually really scary against my team, at least in this matchup. So I decided I want Hippowdon to deal with it in some case. But that is mainly what Hippowdon here is here for. Oh, and it deals with Zygarde as well, because a sub-coil Zygarde could be a little bit scary against this Hippowdon, but luckily I do have other ways to beat Zygarde outside of this thing. So that's Hippowdon. Next up we got Mega Glade. CC, Zen Headbutt, Ice Punch, Shadow Sneak. This outspeeds Mismagius because Mismagius is very scary. I have an idea for this set. I had a few ideas for this set, but I decided with this in the end. Shadow Sneak is to catch Mismagius off guard because I really think Mismagius could come as well if he doesn't bring a few of his other mons. It's definitely something that could beat there. This beats P2 because P2 is just a bitch. This beats Rotom Heat with a little bit of chip, I think. Incineroar, though, if I'm intimidated, I don't think I can one-shot it, especially if it's like Choppleberry, which that could be a thing. This beats Medicham, though I obviously can't switch into it because no one can switch into it. I would need some chip on it, but Medicham cannot knock me out with any one hit, and same backwards, but since I'm faster plus Shadow Sneak, I can beat that 1v1. It beats Zygarde, unless it's boosted, obviously. And it does not beat Skarmory, that's one thing to note. This thing, I wanted Thunder Punch on this thing so bad, but I've wanted Ice Punch because Zygarde, I wanted a way to deal with Zygarde, so I had to just run without Thunder Punch in the end. It sucks, but it's something I'm going to have to deal with in the battle if it ends up coming. And it doesn't really do too well against the Swampert, but Swampert's known to get chipped down and die early, so it's not really a big deal. That is Mega Glade. Whew, next up we got Salazzle. Salazzle's rocking Mech Special Attack. This speed outspeeds Scolipede, that's not boosted. I think at least Nasty Plot and 3 attacks. I originally had Dragonium Z on this thing for the Zygarde, but since I already have a decent, I have Mega Glade, I have a Hippowdon, I have Celebi, as I'll explain in a bit. I decided with the Poisonium Z because this at least can nuke through a few mons that I otherwise couldn't. Like a +2 Poisonium Z does like 75% to a P2, and if P2 shift a bit, I can just knock it out. That also applies to another mon on this team that I can't think of. I think it's AV Incineroar or something like that. Like a +2 Poisonium Z does like 75%, and Incineroar gets chipped throughout a battle pretty easily. And Dragon Pulse still does like it does a little bit under half to a Zygarde. So if Zygarde's chipped, then I could at least deal with it that way, or at least I can get chip on it by using Dragon Pulse. Inflame Thrower is just really good against this team as well. Beats that Ariados down. Ariados is kind of scary. Ariados actually gets Stomping Tantrum. I didn't know that up till like 10 minutes before the battle, and that really sucks because I can't just freely switch into Salazzle if it's got like Stomping Tantrum for whatever reason. And it beats Skarmory offensively. It's one way to deal with Skarmory. I wouldn't be shocked if I just hard switch Salazzle into Skarmory because Skarmory is known to either running Brave Bird or just no attacks. I personally hate the no attack Skarmory set. I think it's just setup fodder half the time if you don't run Whirlwind. So I would expect like Brave Bird and like Rocks, Roost, Defog, something like that. But if he doesn't have Brave Bird for whatever reason, which is something people do, then Salazzle, that's just free setup for Salazzle. Next up we have Manaphy, another setup mon. We got Tail Glow Surf, E-Ball, Ace Beam. This speed outspeeds something on his team. This outspeeds Zygarde. Well, yeah, this outspeeds Zygarde, I guess. I feel like I would run more speed. Okay, this outspeeds Zygarde, and it outspeeds, like, something creeping a Zygarde creeping. I think it was Mismagius creeping, Manaphy creeping Zygarde. That's what it was, I think. Really complicated EV spread. Tail Glow set, if Salazzle doesn't do a good job setting up, Manaphy will, because the only thing these two are walled by is Salazzle's walled by Swampert and P2 to an extent, and Manaphy is walled by P2 and Cradilly. I don't expect him to bring Cradilly, so that's why I think this Manaphy will work a little bit better. But if I can get this P2 chip down with the combination of my first 3 mons and every mon really, then this Manaphy can come in and clean house. He doesn't have many mons that are faster. Obviously, Mega Medicham might be with max speed, and that could be a problem, but we're going to deal with that when we get there. Mismagius can't really one-shot Manaphy unless he's got like Z Electric or something like that, but I think that would be kind of like a really specific thing to bring. And Scolipede can also not knock me out in one hit as well, unless he's also Z. So A Z move can knock me out, so I definitely have to scout out for that first. But everything else is kind of slower, so yeah. And he also sets them on Skarmory as well, because Skarmory is annoying. Next up, we got Klefki. Speaking of annoying, Klefki with Spikes, Defog, Toxic, Flash Cannon is a Spadef set this week. This was Cradilly. It was P2 because I can just Toxic that thing, and that would become less of a problem. And the Skarmory, even though I can't do too much back to it, I can at least set up Spikes to force it to defog. So if it does have Brave Bird, I can still switch into Slazzle, and he'll have to either click Brave Bird and do a lot of damage to me, but Spikes will still be on the field. So that's pretty cool. And I preferred Flash Cannon over D-Gleam because I'm not staying in on Zygarde anyway, so I didn't really think the Fairy coverage was worth it. And Defog is only there for webs. I don't care about rocks, but I do care about webs. So if he does bring Ariados for whatever reason, I can switch in, knock it down a bit or whatever. If it get knocked out, I find a way to defog because Klefki's a pretty reliable defogger. I just have to be careful of Incineroar because I cannot defog on that thing. I can set up Spikes on it though, but I don't plan on staying in. But that's Klefki. Lastly, we got Celebi. Celebi is rocking this set. It's a little more Spadef with Giga Drain, Psychic, Sub Recover. I wanted more bulk with defense, but I think I needed the speed to outspeed something on his team. I think it was Rotom Heat. I don't quite remember, to be honest, but I needed Spadef because Primarina was a little scary. I didn't really have a good switch in. What's it called? Slazzle beats it offensively fine. Manaphy can take a hit and beat it with Energy Ball. Gallade cannot beat it offensively, so yeah. Celebi was a way to switch into it. If it's like Specs, it's going to be really scary, but if it's like Scarf, then it's not as scary. You can switch in, take a hit, and click Giga Drain or Recover Up. It depends. It deals with Zygarde unless it's getting really boosted. A really boosted Zygarde is kind of scary, but like a non-boosted Zygarde doesn't scare the Celebi. It's a Celebi. I'll just Giga Drain it or something. I don't know. But it's mainly here for Primarina, and it does good against Zygarde. I can sort of switch into Medicham unless it like predicts me, but it's a Mega Medicham. I can't really switch into that mon. It's so scary. I can deal with it offensively again with like Slazzle can do a good chunk to it. Mega Gallade does a really good chunk to it. Hippowdon can take any one hit. Manaphy, that's scuffed. I can take any hit with Klefki or at least Toxic it, but Medicham's really scary for this team. So is Scolipede. Scolipede's gonna have a hard time switching into Celebi because of Psychic, so that's pretty cool. I want to lead sheet on this set so bad, but I put Substitute for a reason that I don't really even remember, to be honest. Oh, it was for like if I knock out something, Scolipede can't come and revenge me because I have Psychic. That's what it was for. But that is Celebi, and that is going to be the team for our Week 11 battle against Great Warrior. All right, so this is my team. Just went over it as I just said. Let me make sure everything's on. Yep. He brought the Cradilly and this Mismagius. He did not bring the Mega Medicham. That is great news. The only thing that's really scary now at this point is Scolipede. Scolipede is the biggest threat to my team. Skarmory is a little of an annoyance, but it's something I can beat, definitely. Let me just take a drink real quick. Yeah, Cradill's not a problem. Zygarde's not a problem if I don't let it set up. Primarina, if it's Specs, could be a bit of a problem, but overall, it's not going to be too scary. And Mismagius might claim a kill, but overall, it's also not the most scariest mon ever. So... man, my voice is getting tired already. I've only been talking for what? How long has the stream been on? Stream's been on for an hour, and I'm just dead already. That's nuts. But we're going to start this battle here. Let's come on slow. He leads with Primarina. I think I lead with Manaphy. Yeah, I was expecting that. My leads have been on fire this stream. But I think I click Energy Ball just to get some damage, or just to find out what this... No, I switch into Celebi, right? Yeah, I switch into Celebi. See what the set this is. As he clicks Moonblast, and that is luckily not Specs damage, and that is really awesome. As this turn, I forget what I click. He goes into Skarmory. I was fully expecting that. As I click Psychic, expecting that, even though it does like almost nothing. I find out that the Skarmory actually is not leftovers, so that's pretty interesting to note. Hippowdon's going to come in. Even though I can't do too much to it, I want to see if this thing has defog. I can set up rocks on it, as that's what I'm going to do. And if he wants to defog, he'll be defogging his own rocks away, so that's a win-win. Cradilly comes in. Not really a big deal. I set up my own rocks, and Skarmory's going to have to come back in on rocks, because that is his only defogger on the team, if he brought one. As I can go to Klefki. Klefki just walls his Cradilly to death, honestly. So I'm not really too scared. He does bring a curse set, so that's interesting. As I'm going to click Toxic. Hopefully I don't miss. If it's like sub, then it could be a little bit scary. But I have Toxic. I hit the Toxic, so now this thing's not really scary at all. Even if he's like a rest, I'll beat it 1v1 eventually. Because I do have Flash Cannon on this thing. I could also set up Spikes on it. And now I do click Flash Cannon this turn to get some chip on this Cradilly. As it only does 18%. And I originally did think it was especially defensive. But it just turns out it's just because the sand boosts like rock type special defense. That's what ended up happening. He's getting chipped down a bit more. And I know this is a winning battle for me, so I think I just click Spikes this turn. So yeah, I click Spikes knowing I can tank any hit. So it will definitely force the Skarmory to defog if he has it. So here I decide I'm going to switch out Klefki, and I'm going to go out on the 2 mana fee, and this could be a good set of opportunity. As he is going to click defog, so he does a defog. He's got Rock's defog, so it's probably going to be Rock's defog, Roost, Brave Bird. So at this point I'm thinking, okay, he doesn't have Whirlwind. So I can just click Tail Glow. So I do click Tail Glow, and then Credilli comes in. And a +3, even a max fully special defensive Credilli is not living this Ice Beam. Credilli drops, and we are up 6-5 pretty early in this matchup. That's really good. Credilli wasn't that scary, so it's not really that big of a deal. But it's still something. Now, and Mismagius comes in. I know Mismagius is going to be faster, but I'm thinking in my head, there's only one way this thing knocks me out if it's Z Electric, and I was expecting like Z Ghost. That was definitely something I could have seen on this thing, like Ghost Z, but that doesn't knock out my Mana Fee, even like a modest one. But even the chances of him being Z move are like lower because he's got a Scolipede sitting right there. So I'm thinking I don't think this thing is gonna be like Z Electric or anything, or even Choice Specs Thunderbolt doesn't knock me out. I don't think. So I'm just gonna click a move, and he pops a Z move, and it was like Dream Z. He brought the exact set for this Mana Fee, and Mana Fee is going to drop. It was my own fault for not scouting for that, but I mean, realistically, it was just good prep on Great Warrior's part. That was great prep on Great Warrior's part. That was the only thing that could have knocked out my Mana Fee, and that is exactly what he brought. So really good set. My Mana Fee can't just sweep through this team now. Primarina might be a bit of a problem now because I only have Celebi to switch into it left. But I'm going to switch into Klefki because I forget why. I think he clicks Thunderbolt. That's fine. Oh, it's my main Spadef switching. He gets a Paralysis, which really sucks. I'm going to just fire off a Flash Cannon. Oh, I remember because Shadow Sneak from Glee doesn't knock out Mismagius from full. I wanted to get it to 74%, I think it was. So Mismagius is at 71 now, but I'm still not really like if it's like a little more bulkier. I wanted to guarantee knock it out. That's it. I don't want it to like be a roll and I lose the roll for whatever reason. So I'm gonna click Flash Cannon again. I think this turn, this turn I believe he switches out. He goes into Skarmory. No rocks are up, so that kind of sucks. As I get paralyzed, so yeah. I don't really feel like setting up spikes on this thing now, knowing that it's defog. Well, I try that turn, but I get paralyzed. He gets a free Roost, so he's got Stealth Rock, defog, Roost. I don't know that last move. I'm assuming it's Brave Bird, so yeah, I'm getting Leftovers recovery back, so that's pretty cool. As here he goes back into Mismagius, which is really smart because I switched out this turn into Salazzle. I know Salazzle's faster, but because I took off the Poison, took off the Dragonium Z and put Poison Enemy Z on it, I can't actually knock this thing out because the Dragonium Z would have knocked this thing out, but I can't now. I don't want to take any damage on the Salazzle yet with this thing if I don't have to. So I'm just going to go right back on the Klefki as he just clicks Thunderbolt. It's a smart move. Get more chip on this Klefki because Klefki is kind of annoying for his team. As here I try and go for Flash Cannon to make sure that Shadow Sneak is a guaranteed knockout. As it is. Now it's a guaranteed knockout. So now I'm a lot less scared of this Mismagius. As I know Skarmory could just come back in. I get paralyzed trying to set up spikes. At this point, I'm just trying to sack off Klefki because Klefki's really only here good for at this point is for Mismagius. And I'm going to try and set up spikes so I can at least force Skarmory to defog. As he's going to clicking T-Bolt. That's fine with me. I get a spike up. And it could be good for Scolipede if it doesn't have a ground move. But let's be realistic. It's going to have a ground move. So yeah. So he just sacks off. That's pretty cool. I can go in the Glade now and click Shadow Sneak here. But I do end up, I believe, clicking Ice Punch because I know I'm faster regardless. So knowing the Skarmory could probably come in, I'm going to click Ice Punch. As it does a decent shot. It doesn't do that much. As I find out it's a Rocky Helmet Skarmory. And no, I don't want to take a Brave Bird, so I'm going to go into Salazzle. Salazzle also doesn't want to take it, but I forced this thing to defog, so that's fine. Here, I could set up a Nasty Plot, but I decide here I do go for Nasty Plot. Okay. So, Mismagius comes in. This thing's definitely going to die now to a Flamethrower. So, we are now tied 4-4. The reason I'm a little skeptical about Nasty Plot is because this Primarina comes in. And this Primarina came in pretty freaking fast. So, I'm assuming at this point, Primarina Scarf, this is Rocky Helmet. I don't know what the Scolipede is. That's really scary. And Zygarde's going to be, standard Zygarde. So, the Scolipede in the back is freaking scary. This thing's kind of scary, too, because Celebi is my only switch into this thing. And if it's Scarf, and he gets like 2 high rolls with Moonblast, that could be a little bit scary. But I also don't think he's going to be clicking Moonblast on a Salazzle. So I am going to switch out, expecting him to be Scarf. As I go into Celebi, and he clicks Hydro Pump. So that's good. So I can live any 2 hits. And assuming he's Scarf, he's going to switch out at this point. As he just goes back out into Skarmory. And this Skarmory is really annoying. As I'm going to click Recover to make sure I can deal with this Primarina effectively. At this point, I go back out into Salazzle. as he sets up the rocks. Now he pulls a double on the Zygarde. I do not have the Dragonium Z. Even the Dragonium Z from full probably doesn't knock out Zygarde, but it does at like 90-something% to it. So, I mean, that would have been pretty nice, but I can't stay on this thing. I got to go into Mega Gallade. I play very offensively here. Hopefully, I can't just go into like Hippowdon or Celebi because I need Hippowdon for the Scolipede still, and I need Celebi for the Primarina. And if any of those two get chipped, one of these two could become a serious problem. So I had to play offensive with this thing. So I go into Mega Gallade, and he clicks Glare. That really sucks because Mega Gallade was good for Zygarde and Primarina only if I'm full. So, like, I mean, I guess in hindsight, it's not the worst thing in the world, but it's something that is just unfortunate I have to deal with now because Paralysis sucks. So now I'm just going to click Ice Punch as he goes into Primarina. Smart move. But luckily, since Primarina does not get reliable recovery, it is some chip on this thing, so that's really nice. As I'm just going to go back out into Celebi as he goes in the Scolipede. He pulls a nice double in the Scolipede. And if I was a man right now, I'd click Psychic, because Psychic nukes this thing. But if he clicks any move, if Celebi dies, I lose, because Primarina, I'm assuming a Scarf at this point, just comes in and clicks Water move, and I die. So I can't lose Celebi. I cannot risk that. So I'm going to go into Hippowdon. It's mainly here for the Scolipede, as I'm going to force to take a hit as he does set up a Swords Dance. That was pretty ballsy on his part, but it's going to pay off in the end, because if I click Psychic, man, it's whatever. I do have the Pasho Berry for Aqua Tail, and that, since it's not a Z move, it's not as scary now. As I'm going to click Earthquake here, and luckily he does click Aqua Tail, and because of my Pasho Berry, I only take 30%, and next move I would only like take 60%, so I can live any other move from this thing. As I do get an Earthquake off, and I get some great chip. That's 56%. He's not living another one, especially with like some Sand Chip as well. So I'm just going to click Earthquake again, I believe, and he does switch out into Primarina. Wait, what do I do here? I click Slack Off. I do click Slack Off to stay healthy for this thing, that's why. I should have clicked Earthquake looking back at it, but, you know, it's whatever. We're going to Mega Gallade, because Mega Gallade's not as important now in this game because I'm paralyzed. He does click the Pump, and it does a decent chunk of damage. I could click Shadow Sting to get more chip on this thing, but the chip's not really too important, as he just clicks it. That confirms that he's... Oh, wait, it doesn't confirm he's Scarf because I'm paralyzed. But he's locked in the Hydro Pump, and obviously, Salazzle's not taking that, and Hippo's not taking it, so I have to go into Celebi, forcing me out. So I know incoming Skarmory's coming soon, so I'm going to click Psychic, just to do more damage than Giga Drain. So yeah, get some nice chip. And this time, instead of switching, I decided to just click Psychic again, because if he wanted to pull in a double, that'd be really nice, but he doesn't. He gets up Rock, so now Salazzle's pretty limited. And this battle's not really looking too hot. I go into Salazzle anyway, because, yeah, why not? As he clicks Roost. He does not have Sturdy, so Flamethrower is a guaranteed knockout from here. Man, I wanted to click Dragon Pulse so bad, but it doesn't matter, because he actually just psychs off the Scolipede. And that is huge, because Scolipede goes down. It is 3v3. This is actually a really close battle, guys. This is really close. I have the switch-ins for both Zygarde and Primarina. And Skarmory. The thing is, Celebi can beat both of these. So Scolipede going down is huge, because now I don't have to worry about Celebi as much. Celebi obviously beats Primarina a lot more than Zygarde, because I'm more specially defensive. But at least now I'm feeling a little more comfortable in this situation, because Scolipede's down. Celebi's a lot more free. Granted, Skarmory is still there just to tank any hit every day. So I do have to watch out and limit my Salazzle switch-ins because of the rocks. But anyway, Zygarde comes out. And I think I'm going to Hippowdon first. I go into Hippowdon because Hippowdon's only here for the Zygarde at this point. So I decided to just rock out with that. As he clicks Dragon Dance. So I'm like, oh crap. He's not Coil, so I guess that's cool. But Coil is good in the sense that Hippowdon can probably beat this. But it's bad in the sense that Salazzle cannot beat this thing. Cannot revenge it if I get it low enough. So that's a little scary, ain't gonna lie to you. So he's got Glare, Dragon Dance. He's got 1,000 arrows. I'm not sure what that last move is yet. So I'm gonna stay in and click Toxic. Hopefully I can hit my move. It's not. I'm hoping it's not sub. So I click Toxic. Oh, I get paralyzed. So that really sucks. If he's like sub 1,000 arrows, Dragon Dance, Glare, I might just lose this battle if I get hacked out enough. So that's something I gotta keep in mind. I just want to get this Toxic off on Zygarde, because that is my best hope of getting rid of this thing. As he clicks 1,000 arrows, it does a decent chunk of damage. That's quite a lot. As I get up my Toxic off, and now this thing is a lot less scary. That was huge. So I'm thinking now, at this point, that last move is going to be either E-Speed or Sub. I would assume is E-Speed, because at this point, if he had Sub, he would have clicked it. So I'm a lot less scared of this thing. He's going to set up more. I'm going to just click Earthquake to get some chip or Slack Off. But I get paralyzed. I'm like, oh crap. Alright, that sucks. So now he might knock me out with 1,000 arrows. And it's starting to get a little scary here. So I'm gonna click Earthquake or Slack Off again. I think I click Slack Off here. As I get paralyzed, I'm just like, come on, dude. I get paralyzed twice. He got 2 Dragon Dances for free. That is just not okay. That is just not okay. Now the Zygarde is kind of scary because he just got kind of just set up for almost free. As he's going to take a little more toxic damage, but I don't know how much it's going to matter at this point. Is now I go into Celebi because I want to keep Hippowdon as a sack as he clicks the 1,000 arrows. I'm down to 47%. Luckily, another 1,000 arrows will not knock me out. I do have leftovers, and this turn is huge. If he has E-Speed, or I mean, if he's got Outrage, I just straight up lose. If he has Outrage, I just straight up lose this battle. If he has E-Speed, there is a 50% chance I live with this investment. Again, if he's Outrage, I just lose the battle though. So I need to stay. I'm deciding I'm gonna stay with Celebi. I'm gonna trust my roll because if Celebi dies, I just lose because Primarina comes in and clicks a water move. And if I go into Hippowdon, the toxic damage wouldn't be enough. So stay in. Does he have Outrage? He has E-Speed. I live on 1. I live on 0.7%. I click Recover so I can switch into the Primarina a bit later. That is huge. That turn was huge because now he's going to take all that toxic damage and he dies to... No, he doesn't die to the next toxic damage, but he dies to 2 more. And this Zygarde's never getting set up again. So that was a huge turn because if Celebi would have went down, yeah, I probably could have beat this Zygarde down, but then Primarina would have came in. So in the end, because Primarina does outspeed my Salazzle after a Scarf, so that is something to keep in mind. He would have to miss like a Hydro Pump or something like that. But with Celebi alive, I'm not risking that again. So I'm going out into Hippo. I don't mind sacking Hippo at this point as he's going to click E-Speed. It's not going to do too much to Hippo as he's barely going to live this toxic damage, I believe. Yeah, because of the leftovers. But here, I'm just going to sack as he's going to sack. We're going to double down as Hippo's going to go down and Zygarde's going to go down. At this point, I don't want to send in Salazzle because if he sends in Primarina, then that sucks. So I'm going to go into Celebi first. And if he goes into Skarmory, I can at least recover up on it. But he goes into the Primarina. I think I click Recover first just to make sure I can live any 2 hits. As he clicks Moonblast, gets a Attack Drop. That kind of sucks, but it's whatever. Moonblast is doing a lot less than me recovering. Plus, he's taking some chip damage. Now, here I click Giga Drain. Could be a little scary if he gets a crit. But, no, I click Recover. I click Giga Drain at some point. It's just to get to a nice amount of health. As he's taking more chip damage from the Sandstorm. As now, he's just going to spam Moonblast. The only thing he can hope for is a crit at this point. But even now, since I'm at like 99% or 97%, it's not as scary. Now, this turn, I click Giga Drain because I can guarantee to live any 2 hits even with a crit. As I do Giga Drain, it doesn't do as much because of this attack drop, but it's okay. It does enough to where I can knock it out the next turn. And here, I'm just going to click Giga Drain. He gets the crit this turn, so like that's really unfortunate. But at this point, it doesn't matter. Primarina is going to go down. And I still don't know that last move from Skarmory, so it could be Brave Bird. I'm not going to switch in Salazzle on a Brave Bird with Rocks up, so I'm just going to spam Psychic till he kills me. And so yeah, I basically win this game if I just don't play dumb. So I'm going to spam like moves till I die. I have to make sure I guess Spadef drop too, so like that's another way. It turns out he actually doesn't have Brave Bird. He told me after the battle he has no attacks, so I take his word on it and I go into Salazzle. Hopefully he wasn't scum, but luckily he just clicks Rocks. So at this point it's over. It's GG. So GG to Great Warrior, a really respectable opponent. This was a really good battle. All 3 battles in today's stream were really good. Yeah, that 50% live really was unfortunate for him because he would have won the game right there. But it's kind of justice. I think it's kind of justice for 2 paralysis in a row on Hippowdon, or like 3 paralysis overall. I got paralyzed a lot this game, so I mean, I see it sort of as justifiable, but it's still, in the end, it matters a lot. So, again, sorry, Great Warrior, for that. It definitely affected his playoff chances, but that's all I got for you guys. So, again, thank you guys for watching so much, for whoever showed up today. It's kind of a shorter stream. I think I'm just going to get out of here. So, yeah, everyone have a fantastic day. Love you all. I am on YouTube, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.